Folks, I have fantastic news this morning. I've been waiting all week to tell you about it. I've discovered the miracle habit that promises a healthier, happier, maybe even a longer life. The good news, you don't have to inject it. You don't have to swallow it. It isn't sold in powder form. No influencers are trying to sell it to you. And you don't even have to fight your insurance company for coverage. What is this miracle habit? It's gratitude. In 2024, researchers published a study in the Journal of the American Medical Association. They followed nearly 50,000 adults over 4 years. And after accounting for a host of other factors, they found that people with stronger habits of gratitude had about a 9% lower risk of death than those who reported the least gratitude. One of the researchers said something that caught my attention. A 9% reduction in mortality risk is meaningful, but not huge, he said. But what's remarkable about gratitude is that just about anyone can practice it. Anyone can practice gratitude, and Judaism expects it of us. Before we check our phones, before we shower, before breakfast, before we even recite the Shema, Jewish tradition asks us to say these few simple words. Modeh ani lefanecha. I am grateful. Each year, I ask our Jewish Discovery Lab students to tell me what is the very first feeling they have when they wake up in the morning. And they shout, tired, hungry, excited, nervous. And then I ask them, what if the very first thought you had each morning was modeh ani, was gratitude? How might that change your morning? How might it change the rest of your day? Adults, we're not so different. According to one recent survey, nearly half of Americans and a majority of adults under 30 reach for their phones within 10 minutes of waking up. And what if instead of beginning each morning with notifications, the first message we saw was, Modeh ani. I am grateful. How might that change the rest of our days? Jewish tradition builds gratitude into the framework of the day in many other ways as well. Each time we say that standing prayer in the service, the Amidah, we add a paragraph, Modim anachnu lach. We are grateful before you. We even bow towards the ark in that moment to set this moment of gratitude apart from the rest of the prayer. Judaism gives us blessings for moments that we might otherwise pass by. Tasting a new food, receiving good news, seeing a rainbow, hearing thunder, watching fruit trees blossom in the spring. There's even a blessing for encountering an exceptionally beautiful person. Every blessing, it's an invitation to pause long enough for gratitude to catch up with the experience. Because our tradition knows that gratitude is not simply an emotion that we happen to feel, it's a practice that over time becomes a part of the fabric of who we are. As Moses prepares the Israelites to enter the promised land, he gives them a command that sits at the heart of this week's parsha. You shall eat, you shall be satisfied, and you shall give thanks to the Lord your God for the good land that God has given you. And then Moses adds a warning. When you have eaten your fill, do not say to yourself, my own power and the might of my own hands have won this wealth for me. Moses tells the Israelites that with God's help, they will enter a land that is bountiful, a land where the Torah states they will lack nothing. They will build houses, harvest crops, mine precious metals. But with this bounty comes a danger. That they will begin to believe the story they tell themselves, my own power, my own hands, my own success, forgetting the God who sustained them, forgetting all of the people, past and present, who made the lives that they lead possible. Sometimes this is not an easy form of gratitude to find. We did the hard work for what we earned. We bristle at the suggestion that our success isn't just ours. The Torah, it asks us to push past this first natural impulse to reach towards gratitude. Does God really need our gratitude? Maybe. But I'm more certain that we need our gratitude. God is interested in the kind of people that we become when we learn to notice the mountain of support below each of our accomplishments. The people whose sacrifices made our opportunities possible. There's one assumption hidden in this verse that many of us might struggle with. The Torah says, you shall eat, you shall be satisfied, and then you shall give thanks. But what if we aren't satisfied? Think about how different this is from Modeh Ani. We don't recite Modeh Ani because we woke up with a perfect morning, not because birds are chirping and ready to help us get dressed for the day. We say it simply because the morning has arrived. Gratitude's built into the rhythm of the Jewish day. But in Deuteronomy, the verse makes gratitude dependent on us receiving exactly what we need. So what if we are not feeling so satisfied? What if we wake up one morning with not very much to feel grateful for? Do we get a pass? And the rabbis notice this same tension. They ask, what does it mean to be satisfied according to this verse? And the sages in the Talmud answer the question. One rabbi holds that a person who eats an olive worth of food should be considered satisfied. And another rabbi, Rabbi Yehuda, says an egg's worth of food. The rabbis, they're not pretending that an olive or an egg is really enough food to be full. They are redefining satisfaction. Satisfaction no longer begins when we have everything that we want. It begins when we recognize that what we already have received itself, well, that's a gift. The rabbis later taught that God especially loves the Jewish people because they go beyond the letter of the law. The Torah commands that we bless only after we're satisfied, yet the Jewish people choose to give thanks even after the smallest bits of food, even just one olive. We refuse to let gratitude depend on abundance. And even more provocatively, the rabbis teach this, that anyone who enjoys anything in this world without reciting a blessing of gratitude is in a sense stealing, is taking something that doesn't belong to them, as though they were misappropriating what ultimately belongs to God. Gratitude, it transforms consumption and it makes it a relationship. Now, the rabbis, they're keen observers of the world. They see the brokenness of the world. They see its rough edges. They must know that not every person will have all of the food that they need in every given moment. That not everyone will be able to find gratitude every single day. But to the rabbis, gratitude is not the end of the relationship, because we can say thank you and still ask for more. Blessing and gratitude, it doesn't end prayer. Gratitude gives us the perspective to keep reaching without forgetting what we've already received. It doesn't separate us from what we lack. It allows us perspective as we move forward. So is gratitude the miracle habit? Perhaps. It doesn't magically give us everything we need. It doesn't change God, but it changes us. It makes us more present, more generous, more aware of the countless gifts and the people that make our lives possible. It helps us face both blessing and disappointment without allowing either of them to define us. Because God doesn't need our gratitude. We do. Shabbat Shalom.